check, but
I mean, at
go
least they
Finns.
had like a nickname, like Finns. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They didn't have shit.
So that's even like more of an effort than just go Rams.
Ready
Maybe it's a nod to the
go?
professor.
They should have just gotten rid of the go and just made it Rams.
Just Rams.
Just Rams.
Go Finns.
We are live, gentlemen. We are live on the interwebs. So I'm going to tweet this stuff out to our peeps. I'll watch the chat in case something comes up, and then, I'll interject. But we'll be about 20 seconds ahead of what they are. So we'll just go. Do you want to take off, Joe? I'll start tweeting this stuff out and we'll get going.
I don't want to take off. I got my Lysol, bitch, ready for the draft 2020.
What?
I don't know. That's all I got. What do you have, Joey, the jerk in video form?
Well, I'll tell you that our last podcast, I don't know how many of our 7 fans listened to it, but big hit with my wife's friends. They all listened to it the first 6 minutes, but then some of them kept listening to it because I thought I was going to start getting football and I was going to turn it off, and I'm like, oh, that's the thing about the podcast. Not as much X's and O's as you might think.
It's a football podcast about Aladdin.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of food talk, a lot of skillets being discussed. But yeah, man, I watched the draft last night. I'm sure everybody did, but I was just waiting for fuckery and trades, and
there wasn't much.
Yeah, it was just like so boring. I think I stopped actually watching it after the 10th pick because I was like, okay, well, I can follow the rest of it online, but I don't know. Did you guys just watch the whole thing, like every footage? It felt kind of like Hallmark Channel a little bit.
Well, we have our Hallmark content contributor. So you got your terrestrial radio podcast trio, Robbo, Joey, and myself, and we got Sosa coming from the tundra. What is the climate of Hamilton, Canada? What is is it a steppy? What is the right word to use here? Where are you coming from?
I don't know what you would want to use. It's pretty cold today, though. I can tell you that.
What's the real feel?
The real feel? It's got to be hovering somewhere around 4 or 5 is my guess.
4 or 5?
Yeah.
You guys don't know how to do temperatures. We got Sosa. We also got Eric Nagel. What's up, Nags?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Is that a jersey preview? Are you dropping?
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
Ooh,
look at
hold
those. Look at that hashtag time to shine. Hashtag shine to time. Hashtag shining time. Hashtag shining.
Hashtag go Rams.
I like it. Well done. And we got Sean Wilkinson, home brewery expert. What are we cooking up today? What is your 2020 NFL draft brew that you've cooked up specifically for this event?
I'm lazy. I got Guinness.
No, you're not. You did. I'm lazy. I only made is a coconut porter stout, milk cheese lager.
No, there's a sweet potato porter.
There's a sweet potato. Love some sweet potato beer. Go ahead, Wilk. So we got a nice little 6-man crew. Good to see everybody. Joey said he stopped watching the draft. So did you stop watching last year's draft, or have you just had it on repeat all year?
I actually just finished last week. No, I definitely was watching the draft last night. I was tipping picks in the Slack channel. Actually, I had to stop. It's pretty dope though. It was a good round. It wasn't too many crazy surprises or anything like that, but it's always entertaining.
I'm going to say that's why Nick Martin is not with us today, because he's still pissed at Sosa for tipping picks.
Ooh.
I stopped at the end.
No, you didn't.
I was like dropping sneak peeks.
Is that tips? You were tipping tips?
Yeah, I was tipping tips. If you ran into the conclusion, that's not my fault. You know what I mean?
Ran to the conclusion. Whoa, DeAndre Swift. I mean, I'm not saying that's who it is, but there's a guy with that name.
Swifty. He's Swifty.
Very good. Let's see. We got some topics. We got some links. Day 1. First off, virtual draft in Roger Goodell's basement. Thumbs up or thumbs down? I say thumbs up.
He was hammered. I was loving it.
Joey says no. What didn't you like, Joey?
I just thought his attempt to be funny just felt kind of like a PR stunt, and
you don't like your grandpa turning around at his computer monitor. Hey, let's go. Turn it up.
You know what?
Let me see you clap.
I feel like give him more so he could screw it up, but it felt like it was just enough that he was capable, but it kind of felt like my high school principal, like trying to be funny. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't want to watch it. I thought the fans, it was really weird. Like, what were they seeing? I don't know. I get they had to do something, but it just didn't feel as creative as I wanted it to be. But bah humbug.
What
What'd you
about
think, Robo?
what about the Brady Bunch thing with all the fans and him just like the pre-scripted comedy was awful. I hated
Let's
every
go. Let me hear you. For every use of hashtag Boomy, we'll donate 3 cents to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Thank you.
drink your Lysol, kids.
Let's go.
Terrible.
Also, shout out to Roger Goodell, who had, I don't know how many weeks, how many months to prepare for it. With the 5th pick, Miami Dolphins have selected Tua Tongue of my bunga. Good pick, Miami. Good job,
Yeah,
Raj.
He called Kayvon Chase on Clavon.
Clavon Chason. How are you supposed to know how to pronounce those? He's only the commissioner of the fucking NFL.
No biggie.
He doesn't make enough to bother with the late names. He gets a raise, maybe.
He is more. He's making more than 1 million per draft pick in the first round.
Did you see that? Did you see his tweet he put out earlier in the day? Like, hey, this is my man cave setup, and this is what we're gonna do. And they showed his like chair where he watches all the games. I think if you make as much as Raj does, you get a better chair. Come on.
How did he pronounce Noah Igbinoghene right and messed up to Tagovailoa? How is that? That's very professor of him. He Googled that one, but couldn't get Tagovailoa right.
Right.
Hey, on brand, Raj. First round, a lot of fun. No big trades early on. There was a big trade later on for Green Bay. What'd you guys think? What was the big takeaway from round 1?
I mean,
Any takeaways from the NFC West?
Yeah, they all got
No
better
one picked
except for
offensive
us.
lineman, which bodes well for our defense.
What was that about? I was surprised at that, Sean. Were you surprised?
Yes.
I was too.
Especially considering Brock's back and we brought in Henderson.
I was shocked. No offensive lineman. What'd you think, Sos? You were the guy who was pounding the table for offensive linemen, and they didn't come. Even your boy Jonesy is just sitting there, lonely and Jonely, waiting
He's waiting
for
to come.
round 2.
He's waiting to come to the team that matters.
How surprised were you that there were no offensive linemen for the NFC Western round 1?
Honestly, I was pretty surprised. I thought Arizona should have won offensive line for sure.
Sure.
I felt like Seattle might have won offensive line, like Isaiah Wilson, but they still did some weird shit like they always do. But
A very predictable take in Jordan Brooks. Everybody had him going.
It was
there.
going to be an off-ball linebacker or a running back. We all knew it was coming. Who else? Who did the 49ers do? Oh, they took
Javon Kinlaw.
And Kinlaw, right? No, I'm not too surprised they didn't take a lineman, but yeah, I thought Arizona should have took one at 8 or 7, wherever they were. But I mean, I don't know. I can't really fault them either. Isaiah Simmons is pretty dope, so, and their defense is just god awful. I know they were writing those fantasy articles last year. They were the worst defense at covering tight ends too, so that's gonna help. But yeah, I don't know. I would have taken a piece to protect Kyler, but I don't know.
Who's your favorite pick from the first round, Nagel?
Oh man, that's a good question, dude. I mean, like, I love Chase Young. He's a beast. I hate the Redskins, but I mean, I gotta go with him.
Chase Young's a good one. He's an easy one. He was the easiest pick. He was maybe the best 2 pick. I don't know. Am I the only person who isn't buying Jeffrey at number 3? I mean, I know they needed a cornerback and it's Detroit. They could have done anything, but it felt like Chase Young is maybe the best number 2 pick in a long time, and Okudah was kind of the worst number 3. He was a number 3 pick.
Who did you think they should have went with?
Oh, I mean, it's just the way the draft falls. I don't know that there was anybody that, maybe Simmons, but it was one of those things where there wasn't a great number 3 overall pick. Chase Young could have been number 1 for a bunch of drafts, and it just so happened that, you had a draft where Cincinnati needs a quarterback every year, and they just happened to get one that was coming off a spectacular season. But Chase Young's fantastic. So Niggs is right. He's a great pick. What do you think, Robbo? You're the Seattle guy. Were you surprised? I mean, you weren't surprised that it was surprising. Maybe that they didn't trade out of it. Was that the surprise? What do you think?
Well, not a doubt. I mean, Eric knows he's the Seattle guy as well. They trade. They always try to.
Yeah, but he's a Seattle guy. You're the Seattle guy.
True. I mean, semantics, right? Even the news this morning was like they were teasing that they're the Seahawks draft. Like they actually made a pick today. So. That was built up today, and then the fact that it was running back, I didn't hear a lot of linebacker. The fact that it was a linebacker, which was a bit of a surprise when, as Sosa mentioned, they probably should have gone well, especially with the offensive line losses they've had in the last offseason. But I kind of liked what what Miami did. I thought, they got 1 million picks and they just kind of went after it. Now we'll see if Tua pans out for them, but you got to love the fact that they swung for it. I mean, they're going for it. They're trying to rebuild this thing. And with a bunch of picks, we saw how it worked for the Rams and they had 1 million picks with the RG3 trade, right? But if they hit on some of those, they could be sneaky good.
Quarterback, left tackle, makes sense.
Yeah.
Joey, what'd you think? What was your favorite pull from the first round?
You know what? The Chargers kind of put
You would.
together.
I totally forgot. I had totally forgot about Justin Herbert until right now when you said it. And you're right. That is your favorite pick.
And honestly, the other pick from Oklahoma, Kenneth Murray, I feel like if you watch tape on that dude, he can hit really hard. And he is I think he's going to make that defense a bit more strong. And they actually weren't pushovers. So I thought the Chargers got 2 good first picks in the round. I mean, who knows with Herbert?
Sure.
I mean, he could be a bust for sure. I think Tua is the same thing though. I think he's definitely the high ceiling guy. I mean, he could be an all timer, or it could be like RG3 and he could be out in a couple seasons. Or I mean, RG3's still in the league, but just when you look at all those injuries that Tua has, you're just like, wow, we're gonna like make a huge bet on this dude. So I mean, I agree with what Robbo said. The Dolphins really sort of took a big swing.
Took the bull by the horns. 3 things. Nagel, are you drinking egg yolks?
No. Of course not, man. I got a small batch bourbon.
What was it? Oh, that's the ice in there?
Yeah.
I thought you had something with egg yolks. I was about to be very impressed at your training regimen. Suck it, Sosa. You ain't taking yolks with Nagel. You're not even trying yet. That was number 1. Number 2 was I do like the fact that now that we've missed Jay Cutler for years, we have another butt to talk about. We can talk about Tua's butt bone for years to come. I would like x-rays. I'd like discussion of the butt bone. I just want more butt bones in my life. My favorite picks of the round were the Jacksonville Jaguars, who took Jalen Ramsey and Yannick Ngakoue. What's that? They didn't? They got rid of those guys and they replaced them?
They took dollar store versions of them?
Sure. I guess that works too. That's one way to run a team. Good job, Jacksonville. Is that fair? Is that fair to their fans to make fun of them? Or is it just like, should we be more sympathetic that it just sucks when you run a team like that?
No, you got to feel bad for them.
I do.
It's just
I feel bad for them.
I feel
Well,
about it.
so the big question I have, since we're talking Jacksonville, how many seasons before Les Snead trades for CJ Henderson?
2?
When will he make his SoFi Stadium debut?
I got a question. What is Bill O'Brien doing these days? Has
Trying to trade up, apparently.
Has anybody talked to old Slick Billy waiting down there trying to? I saw the Laramie Tunsil deal. He's working his magic, man. I like Billy.
Trying to figure out something to get Leonard, man. Come on, gotta have Fournette.
Good stuff. Any sleeper picks? Any bad picks you didn't like? I got mine. I know Sosa knows it. It was old Patrick King, aka Queen, to Baltimore. I hate it, and I hate it, Sosa. Why do you like it so much?
Because he's dope. That's just a pure Ravens pick. We'll pick at the end of the round. We won't move up. We won't move down. We won't do anything. And somehow some damn good player is going to slip into our hands like they always do, usually in the front 7. And our defense is going to be goddamn amazing again by accident, or not even by accident, but somehow we're going to land a really good prospect again. But no, I liked it. I wouldn't say like I necessarily loved it. I liked it though. But for me, the best pick in the draft so far has to be the Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he just fell right in their laps. You can't go wrong there. I thought they might have wanted Judy, but obviously Judy went like 2 picks before. But wow, I think that's gonna be a dope pick. It's gonna be hard to defend those guys. Amari Cooper, him, Michael Gallup. Obviously they got Zeke. O-line's still really good. I mean, if I'm Dak, I'm smiling pretty much at this point. I probably wouldn't sign any contract that they put in front of me because Lord knows he's probably gonna throw for 5,000 yards next year. But one sleeper pick I really liked was Jalen Reagor to the Eagles. I know that like a lot of people expected Justin Jefferson to go there, but
he wouldn't pick later. So
yeah, I mean, I was high on Reagor too. I just think he fits that offense really well. I know obviously like Jefferson would have been nice in the slot and everything, but Reagor is going to bring like an element of speed just in case like the Deshaun Jackson thing doesn't work out. And if it does work out, then you got 2 guys who are running really fast and can stretch defenses vertically. So I like that one.
How about some of the reaches? We had some reaches. You started with Austin Jackson at 18, Damon Arnett at 19. You had
AJ Terrell.
Ayuk at 20. AJ Terrell was early because he was 16. I figured he might go first round, but 16 was a high. What about Isaiah Wilson or Jeff Gladney? You had some funky reaches going on.
Oh,
Andrew
what-
Thomas was a reach at 4.
Maybe.
Why are you trading up to 26 to get Jordan Love? Was he going to go?
Why? What do you think? What do you think is going on there, Robbo? Solve the mystery for everybody.
Matt LaFleur, I mean, he must have gotten a text from Sean McVay and was like, hey, take this pick, Matty. Take it. Get that developmental quarterback. If you're the Packers, who are the NFC Championship last year, and you are trying to swing for it again this year, if you're a fan, are you happy with that pick? Are you thinking, hey, man, let's go get that developmental guy who's not going to play for 4 or 5 years, maybe?
Is that the plan, though, to not play him for 4 or 5 years?
Is Rodgers like a 2-year thing? Or I don't know. I mean, he's not going to play this year.
He's 40, so.
He's not playing. He's not playing a year after the NFC Championship when you're thinking we need a piece to just reload and go after it again.
I mean, if you look at the numbers, they did it side by side. I'm sure you'll saw that Rodgers right now looks like Favre did when they drafted Rodgers. So there's not a ton of difference. It's just that they're winning a lot.
Who remembers how big of a shit show that was, though?
Yeah. Well, is this not going to be a shit show?
Well, they even mentioned it on the. I think Trey Wingo said something like, he doesn't have to talk to him. He just has to learn. Rodgers is not going to.
Sounds good.
Oh, come here, Jordan. Let's hug it out, bro. Not going to happen.
He's not a fan of Jordan's, that's for sure.
He's not a fan of anybody's. He's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a fan of Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
He's basically like the first act of like a family comedy. Like he just doesn't talk to his family. He only works. Like he needs to learn the value of Christmas. He's a
Uncut Gems 2, the Aaron Rodgers story.
Anyone who's watching this now, if you've listened to the pod, I don't know, whatever the last 6 months, there is one player who was talked about more in the pod this last season than anyone else. One college player who's mentioned more times on our podcast than any other, and my man Joey is got to be smiling today because he gets to watch him at SoFi every week. How are you feeling about your boy Herb coming to LA?
I mean, I mentioned just a second ago, but I like that he has a funny name. And
is that why you have a Chargers logo behind you?
It's the brand new Chargers logo. So I can't wait for our logo. It probably is gonna be amazing. But back to Herbert or Herbert. He kind of has Goff. Him and Goff have similarities in the sense of decision making. That they have an arm, but they can. You watch the highlights, and if you just show the good highlights, it's great. But if you watch the game, you get a different story. And I think that's what happened during the season when I wanted to talk college football with Joe. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to watch Morgan games, talk about Herbert, and it wasn't that fun to watch him play. It's more fun to watch his stats and go, oh, this guy's good. But when you actually are watching like his bad decision making, you're like, oh, maybe.
Are we talking about Herbert or Goff?
Exactly. Herbert.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know, man. But if we're going to talk about bad picks real quick, I want to talk about the Raiders. I feel like the Raiders always reach and always make weird picks. And I think picking like the second best wide receiver on Alabama, I don't know. 12 just seems really high for Henry Ruggs. I know he's fast and they kind of do that. Who's the guy that the Raiders drafted like 10 years ago that was like a speedster?
Hayward Bay.
Hayward Bay.
Yeah. And it's like that's kind of what they do, they get like just frothy at the mouth with like a super fast dude. But I don't know. I don't see that pick panning out.
Did we get an explanation on the bathrobe? I didn't see one if there was.
Old Spice. I think he was sponsored probably.
Wow. Is that for real?
For him.
That must have been.
Very Vegas. It's very Las Vegas, Gotta fit. Gotta go get
Why did Old Spice sponsor Henry Ruggs out of everybody?
They just knew.
It's the third.
I'm confused. It's very interesting. That's very Ruggs, but you're right. That's very Raiders. Here's a question for you, Joey. Is Justin Herbert going to move in on Tyler Higbee's space and become Goff bro number 1?
He seems very bro. He has bro hair, kind of has like a puffy face. He kind of has like a vibe that maybe LA could kind of be a little too, he could show up overweight and just kind of like be all like weeded out and like hanging out at the beach and trying to kind of bone girls. Who knows? You know, he seems like a guy that needed to be in like Pittsburgh or something to get him to focus.
Is it going to be like where Higbee shows up and Goff asks him, "Where's the guac?" And he's like, "Oh man, I forgot it." And Herbert shows up, "Oh, it's no problem. I got extra guac, like
Extra
a real
guac.
bro would." Tyler Higbee. What do you think, Sosa? Is that young Gerald's chance now? If Higbee falls off as Golf Bro number 2, does young Gerald get his chance to shine?
Buddy, you know I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on it. It's not gonna happen, unfortunately, probably not, but I don't know. We'll see.
I got a random pick that we haven't even discussed, and I really like it for this team that I don't like. And Robbo, I know you don't like him. Cesar Ruiz for the Saints. That was like the sneakiest, smartest pick maybe in the second half of the draft. And I don't like it because it's a good pick.
Yeah, it was a good pick.
Repeat after me.
Yeah.
Fuck Sean Payton. Hate that bad.
Explain for anybody who doesn't know, why is Sean Payton so fuckwittable? Why do we not like him so much?
Because he purses his lips too much.
So do I. What's wrong with that?
He's a cantankerous fuck. God, I hate him. I really, there's just that. I mean, outside of his family, does anyone actually like Sean Payton?
What is
Oh,
wrong?
Even the dog doesn't like him.
You say Sean Payton and she just.
I think Robbo wants him to get the Rona again.
Has he trained Gracie to just get pissed off anytime? Sean Payton.
That's the attack signal. Sean Payton. And then he goes.
That's funny. No, I didn't like that pick because it was smart and helps them move forward. I don't know what the answer for Drew Brees is. That was a team that could have made more sense for trading for a guy like Jordan Love, but I think it makes sense to get a guy like Ruiz and figure out quarterback when you get there.
Hey, they just keep giving him a good O-line. He's just going to keep lasting, probably, Drew Brees. I mean, like, dating back to what, like 10 years, 12 years now, they've had amazing interior offensive linemen, dating back to, like, Jari Evans and Carl Nix and, like, Jonathan Goodwin, like, all these dudes, man.
They're good. I don't like it. On to round 2. So now we get to play. We're sitting at 52 and what's the other one? 57? 57.
Yeah.
First question. We'll do another thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up if you think the Rams will sit on those picks and actually draft people there. Thumbs down if you think they're going to trade at least one of them. 1, 2, 3. Everybody except for Joey. Joey is thumbs up. Whoa, Joey. Why do you think they're going to stay there?
First time for everything.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just optimistic that we're finally going to see some players added to the roster, some twos. So I don't know. I'm a dummy. I'm always wrong. So you guys are probably right.
We're always wrong too. That's the way it works. 2 twos. A lot of fun stuff they could do. A lot of interesting players. So I know you've got your best available. Is Jonesy number 1 on it? Is he the number 1 guy you'd like to see the Rams fall
I'm
to the
looking
Rams?
at it right now, and yeah, he is.
Over
Number
everybody
1.
else. Wow.
Over everybody else. There's a couple of other names that, like, I think there's like probably 6 or 7 names that, or like 5 or 6 names that I would love that I don't
Only
really,
5 or 6. Well, what are the 5 or 6? Because there's about 12 that I would love. I don't think it even. I think maybe 1 will fall to us, but there's a good number.
So there's
that I
like
love.
there's probably like 7 names that I love, and then there's like 10 that I would be very happy with. I wouldn't love, like, so I think like all the guys that mostly that were left over should have been first rounders essentially. Josh Jones, Christian Fulton, Denzel Mims, T. Higgins, Zach Bond, Yator Gross Matos, even a guy like Laviska Shenault I think would be really interesting. Michael Pittman. But yeah, I mean, those are the guys I think I would be like a dream if they somehow found their way down there, which I don't expect to happen. I think obviously we got to wait 19 picks before we even get to try and pick someone. So a lot of these guys are going to be off the board. But I think from like all the guys that I watched initially, because I tried to weed out all the top guys, and when I was making my Rams board, and ironically enough, I only had to remove I think 3 guys from last night. I think it was Ruiz, Austin Jackson, and Rager. So like 90%, 95% of the guys that I have on this list are still obviously here.
So how disappointed would you be if the Rams selected, if he's available, DeAndre Swift?
Sorry.
I would be so hurt. I would be so hurt. Like, that's not even a knock on the guy either. That's what's weird about it, is because he's good. He's really good.
He's very good.
He would fit the offense so well. And I think he and Henderson would pair so good together. But, like, why? Why? I would rather take an offensive lineman because you're going to bolster your running game so much more than a running back will. And you don't even know what you have in Henderson at this point, because we were talking about it last night, me, Joe, and Rob, and whatever. They didn't give them ball. They didn't give them the ball last year. You literally don't even know what you have in him. So, like, we can presume that they're high on him, and he's going to touch the ball a lot regardless. But I don't know. It just seems like way too much of a luxury pick for a team that needs so many starting players. The last thing you should be doing is trying to address off our running back, because damn near anyone you plug in there is going to be productive if the offensive line makes it that way.
And you just took one a year ago. Yeah, that's the thing is if you want a running back, we just drafted one and we haven't even played him yet. So I don't know. Is there Sean, Robbo, Nagel, is there anybody that you're tempted by going into the night?
I just want to go pick up what he just said. You know, we're talking running backs, the Rams, so I'm just going to kind of blanket there. But if you remember early last year when they weren't successful running the ball, and until they finally started deploying Johnny Munt, American all Johnny Munt.
Me and Coach.
Everyone was complaining about the fact that it was the offensive line's fault.
Wait a second. Does that mean Sosa hates Johnny Munt because he's all American Johnny Munt? And you're like, yeah, screw that guy.
Hamilton's own Johnny Munt.
Eh?
Twitter was on fire for weeks about how bad the Rams' offensive line is, and it was their fault that the Rams were losing. No one else. It wasn't Jared Goff. It wasn't McVay's usage of Gurley. It wasn't all these other things. It was the offensive line was terrible. And then all of a sudden, half of the fandom out there wants to get another running back to fail behind a patchwork offensive line again. I just don't get some of the thought process here.
They forgot. They definitely forgot.
They'll be reminded in September if we have a season.
Yeah.
The answer is to spend 2 top 100 picks on running backs back-to-back years, because it's what the Rams do. They've drafted running back every year, but twice under Les Snead. So they're going to take one. I just don't want to see it in the second round. I don't. Swifty, I'm sure would be great. And a lot of people, my buddy Chaz here wants another puppy. I want another puppy. The bulldog. But no, put that puppy down. Put it down.
Did you just say to kill Darrell Henderson? Did you say to put him
No,
down?
not Hendo. Swifty. We don't need another bulldog.
Okay. We're not actually putting dogs down. We're just not getting more puppies.
No more puppies.
Okay.
Go to the pound in round 5.
Sounds good, Corella DeVille.
You don't need that AKC puppy this year. You just go to the pound and get yourself a mutt.
Who you got, Lurch? What do you think, Sean? Round 2.
As much as I would love Jones or Epineza on the edge, I'm looking at Ezra Cleveland. And
Ooh, Boise boys.
Big
and
boy.
Zach Bond on the edge. So if they get edge help and offensive line help in second round, I'm happy.
Look at you, our Colorado Rockies component. I like the guy from Idaho and Utah, and there's also a guy from Wyoming, and there's also a guy. He didn't actually play college football, but I work with him.
You know what? Just draft me.
Yeah, it's me. He's me.
There
Big
you
and
go.
strong. I like the cold. It's good. What you got, Nagel?
Man, I don't know if I want them to do this, but what better way to replace one Georgia back than with another? I think it's going to happen, man.
You chaos agent.
They love those skill players, though. Look at what they do. They always draft skill players and sign skill players and trade for skill players higher than or trade more than we think they should to get them. And in the same lens that people think, we haven't seen what Hendo's capable of. I think the organization likes the offensive lineman they drafted. Otherwise, they would have gone harder on getting improvement there.
Yeah, and we've talked about that I wouldn't be surprised if they don't draft an offensive lineman, because they probably do like those guys. They believed in them before, and there's no reason they won't again, especially because they brought back Whitworth and Blythe, so they're not necessarily looking to replace them. What do you think, Joey? Anybody you're interested in today?
Well, what John said about Ezra Cleveland, I like him. I think I would really be happy if they picked a offensive lineman as their first pick, and then on their second pick, they go back with a edge rusher. And I like the guy from Notre Dame, Julian.
Sure.
I think he would be great.
Yeah.
I think also the other guy from Boise State, Curtis Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool. But honestly, picking a center, I don't think would be like the craziest idea. There's a couple guys. We got Tyler Biadasz from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Matt Hennessy. I think we don't have the answer at center. They're talking about answers and stuff, but I think the Brian Allen experiment is maybe short-lived, and they're talking what, Austin Blythe at center. It just feels like there's a lot of questions that if you can get a guy that can really play center going in there, I don't think that would be like the worst idea. But the toys, the wide receiver, the running back, that's going to be what people are going to talk about. But if we can get out of the second round and we picked a tackle and someone get to the quarterback, I'd be really happy.
Yeah, I was going to bring up wide receiver. There's a wide receiver heavy draft. And who was it? Sosa that dropped Laviska Shenault? We haven't really talked about wide receivers, and this is after moving Brandon Cooks. You got to think with Josh Reynolds in a contract year, Cooper Kupp in a contract year. Although you got to think I know Robbo, we're going to get Cooper Kupp done. Is there anybody from the wide receiver class you guys are interested in? Whether it's somebody on the outside like a T Higgins, like Shenault, that can play down the sidelines, or somebody smaller like a Devin Duvernay. Maybe we're getting into third round talk, but somebody like that, or a maybe not Chase Claypool, but somebody like that from the wide receiver group. What's his name out of Kentucky that doesn't really have a position?
Lynn Bowden Jr.
Lynn Bowden, yeah, somebody like that maybe gives you a little bit more versatility than somebody that plays deep downfield. Is there anybody from the wide receivers you guys are interested in?
I mean, I got a boatload of names that I like, especially because it's so deep, but it's hard to peg like who might be the guy just because you don't know what they're necessarily looking for, but that's the dope thing about this draft, I guess, is that it has so many different types of skill sets to offer. But like as I look, there's so many guys still. Denzel Mims would be crazy good. T Higgins would be crazy good. Like these are guys that are probably not even going to make it to the pick, but like if they do, they would have to be picked right there. Otherwise, they're not going to last. But Michael Pittman, like I said, Laviska Shenault would be dope. And then if we're looking
that's
like
a good name right there, Sosa. If we're talking about best names in the draft, Laviska.
Yeah, that is a good name.
Is a fantastic football name. I know Joe kind of keeps a running list of
names,
best football names.
Well, the thing is, you got Yater Groshmatosh. So that's one of those things where it's like that's not even a name. I think it's in the Torah.
You get on your foot.
I got a bad case of the gross matosh. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Just sprinkle some Laviska Shenault on it. You'll be fine.
What do you think? Any other wide receivers that intrigue anybody? Or anything on offense? Is there anything on offense, given what we've done this offseason, that you're like, hey, we got to do this? Like Joey's looking for offensive line help. Nagel's looking for DeAndre Swift. Is there anybody else looking for more on offense? Any backup quarterback takers?
No.
All right. Well, since we're not actually talking specifically players on offense,
sure.
Do you think they're going to go offensive or defensive heavy? Because there's the thought out there. We kind of kicked it on Slack a couple of weeks ago. That defense is what they lost a lot. It's Aaron Donald and some guys. So is their best bet to say, let's go all in on the offense and just try to outscore people? Like, let's play Kansas City Monday Night Football against everybody. Let's win games 45-41 and just go that route. Or do you think they're going to constantly try to fix this defense through the draft? Because we saw what they did. They consciously addressed or are trying to address it with their free agent acquisitions of stopping the run. Those guys they picked up are going to make that unit a little better. Still, we'll have to see if they do it inside linebacker, which is kind of where I'm hoping they go and get themselves a downhill thumper. I talked to Joe and Sosa about that in Slack a couple weeks ago. But do you think, where are we at as a group? Are we going to go defense heavy? Are we going to go offensive heavy? Would you rather see them go either way? Just outscore, say screw it, let's just outscore people because that defense is what it is, a bunch of unknowns, and Jalen Ramsey and Donald? Or that's kind of, so instead of specific guys, you guys, anyone here have a thought on where they should go or what they might do?
I'm open to anything. Best player available. You're right. The front seven's a little bit messy. A lot of it's going to be internal evaluation. They brought in Ashawn Robinson and Leonard Floyd pending, but who's going to start across from Leonard Floyd? Is it Obaniah Okoronkwo? Is it is it Sampson? Does he go back? Who are the inside linebackers now that Corey Littleton's gone? You got
Micah Kaiser.
Do they actually believe in Micah Kaiser coming back from injury, who hasn't really played, or Troy Reader, or what does Staley want to do?
Foul.
Sosa mentioned it. Where did you mention on Twitter? I forget who. You were talking about the two linebacker positions, and you were like, it's a bit of semantics, and I was like, well, not really, because you can't plug in Alec Ogletree to do what Mark Barron does. You can't plug in, Micah Kaiser to do what Corey Littleton does. Those are two different kind of linebackers, and so I don't know what about Greg Gaines? Are they sincere about playing this guy, or is it, Aaron Donald, Sebastian Joseph Day, Michael Brockers, and Ashawn Robinson, and Gaines get sidelined again? So I don't know that they look at the front seven and see a bunch of opportunity, at least this year. The good thing is you're drafting for the next 4 years. So maybe they pull in somebody that they actually can plug in a year from now if they like Obanai, or at least if they want to give him a chance, the way that they gave Samson Ebukam a chance 2 years ago to see how he looks. I don't know, man, but I think it's a good setup for them to kind of go best player available and just peg a bunch of different stuff, defense or offense.
Just fill holes.
I agree. You can start so many, you got so many holes. You could essentially draft any position, I think, outside of quarterback. Hopefully not running back.
When do you start drafting quarterback? When are you open to a quarterback?
Never.
Probably like round 4 at earliest.
Okay, so no round, no Kirk Cousins.
He was a 4th round pick, wasn't he?
Was he 4th or 3rd? Was he 4th?
I think he's fourth.
So we're talking 4th. So no Sean Mannion. So you're okay with Kirk Cousins? No Sean Mannion.
No Sean Mannion.
Go get Jacob Eason at pick 52.
Is this going to be the all Washington draft for Robbo, Trey Adams?
Trey Adams, yeah. That's all.
Jacob Eason. Okay.
There are no.
I bet they'll take Miles Bryant. I think he's out of Washington, that corner.
Bryant's nice.
There are no EW Eagles to speak of this year, so I'm just going to default back to Washington Huskies, and we'll go good. Because we know there are no Bruins in this draft worth drafting. So let's just move on.
That's rude. What do you think, Sean? You got anything for day 2? Now that we're coming up on the clock, besides your look for some offensive line help and some edge help.
That's my focus.
And more beer. Are you switching beer? Do you have one beer for each round? Do you have a sweet potato beer for round 2, and then you're switching for something for round 3?
No, I don't.
Going consistent all the way. What do you think, Nagel?
Potato all in.
Sweet potato all in.
Oh man, I mean, I think McVay's gonna go with what he loves, man. He's just gonna go offense.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see a bunch of new tools.
I got no problem with that. I don't think they're going to think about it like that deep, though. I don't think they have like this philosophy in mind where they're going to be like, oh, we got to go heavy defense because we lost all these defenders, or we got to go offense because our defense is just not good anyway, so we may as well just put up 35 a game. I think that, how they draft. They seem so basic. They lose something and they just generally place it. So I don't know. I feel like probably to some degree we're overthinking it because Lord knows it's going to be DeAndre Swift and some linebacker, and then the next round is going to be some offensive lineman and I don't know, a receiver, and that's that.
Wouldn't surprise. Anything else you expect from any of the other teams? The rest of round 2, the rest of round 3, the NFC West. You got the Raiders, got a bunch of picks coming up. I think they have a back-to-back. Is it the second round?
The Patriots
Patriots have a ton of picks.
7 or 8 picks or something.
Ton of picks.
I don't know. I would love to see the Colts go get a receiver right now. I think they're coming up pretty quickly here. That would be dope if they can go get them like a Denzel Mims or a Michael Pittman Jr. I seen someone say, I think it's one of the PFF guys, they were mentioning that Michael Pittman there would be a good option. I had visions of the 2007 Chargers, Phillip Rivers going deep to Malcolm Floyd. That's all I could think about.
What do you think, Joey? Anything you want to see? Any USC guys? Any LA guys? Anything for golf? Anything around the league you're excited for?
I mean, I'm curious to see I think the quarterbacks that I care about are pretty much off the board. So I want to see where these running backs go. And Sosa's mentioned him a couple times, but Pittman I think will be awesome if he can fall a little bit and we can kind of get him. Who knows? He won't be available in the 3rd round, but that's why I think we're going to start to try to look at a wide receiver as maybe in the 3rd round. But I'm kind of curious to see where these skill position players go. I'm not really tracking too much of the big beefy boys that are going in the 4th round.
The big beefy boys.
Big beefy boys don't really care. But
like a wrestling tag team.
the big beefies.
We got some Rokevius Watkinses, huh?
Oh, some Rokevius. I'd be down.
That's what we need.
We probably do. I mean, not a Rokevius, but somebody like him, right?
Yeah. Just a couple of slabs of meat.
Yeah. Isn't that what Brian Allen was supposed to be? Was a good northern Michigan slab of meat? Wasn't that the whole point?
Wood chopping, tractor starting. I don't know what happened to that one, but I don't know. You can't go wrong.
He got the COVID-19.
Oh no, he got the Rona.
Don't you guys watch Jay Glazer? I mean, it was the biggest story of the year.
Right.
Wonderfully
Huge.
handled.
He
Who's the
tweeted that it
next-
was good news. That's literally what he said in the tweet. And I get it. It kind of was good news because it meant like he wasn't like dying. He was doing well or whatever. But
No,
like,
he meant that it was good news that it was Brian Allen and not like, Jared Goff.
Right.
right.
Who's the
Heaven
next?
forbid.
Who's the next? Barrett Jones or Cody Whitman in the Rams draft?
Ooh.
Less
Do
his.
they
not
do they already have him? Is it David Edwards?
No, it's
Austin Corbett? I mean,
Ooh.
Corbett. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Les
Good
Snead
one.
cannot draft an offensive lineman to save his life. He got Rob Havenstein, who's been pretty good until last year, right? But other than that, he has swung. You ever seen the Bugs Bunny cartoon when he like throws the slow ball? It's just the swing. I mean, he is awful at drafting fatties. I hope they
The
never.
resume is not great.
To be
but he
fair,
can't
though,
just
they're
stop
like
doing
late,
it, though.
late day 3 picks. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I think they just want to accumulate these picks for some reason. And then to me, it's like I would be trying to get rid of day 3 picks as much as possible. Anything after the 4th round is absolutely useless. And if you're like
Just filler.
expecting
Tell
them
them
to be a starter, you're bound to fail right then and there.
Unless you're drafting kicker
Okoronkwo was
or
a
special
first-round
teamer,
pick,
right?
and he's the future of the outside linebacker. So,
There you go.
True, and Micah Kaiser was a 5th pick, and he's slated to be Ray Lewis. So
yep.
Heard it here first.
Better 2021 season, Micah Kaiser or Patrick Queen?
I mean,
Ooh.
You take that to the bank, sir.
if Kaiser plays, I wouldn't be shocked if he's like statistically up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In
I
terms
like
of
it.
tackles and whatever, but I don't know.
Do you think
Well,
Peter's going to be our starting inside linebacker?
I have no idea. I don't know.
All right, hey guys, we have a couple questions on YouTube. I thought I'd knock these out because these guys have been with us the whole time.
Yeah.
Do it.
This is just in general. We'll just go around the horn. If you guys want to pop in, pop in. But our man James from Ireland, a man after my own heart, one of my
Yeah,
favorites,
Guinness.
asks us, you guys see the Rams trying to use Everett as a trade situation, especially if the team who thought they're trying to trade up to is in need of a tight end, New England. Anyone see young Gerald Sosa, don't cry, mentioned in like a trade possibility because, the Rams really haven't used him?
I don't think so. I
I
think
don't either.
if they were going to trade anyone, it would have been done by now, and that's clearly like how motivated they were. We've seen it all. But the one thing that is interesting though, and if they were to trade like a tight end, specifically Gerald Everett, he would probably be the best tight end in this class, ironically enough. So
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But,
But the problem is he's in a contract year, and so
yeah.
you get a cost-controlled guy for 4 years. If you draft one for Gerald Everett, he's done after this year.
and he's up there in age because he came out as a
Yeah.
senior. I think he was like 24 or something. So
Yep. All right, the second question, it kind of pegs off of that one, is Ulysses comes up with, do you see the Rams trading anyone for additional picks? Will they make a trade for additional picks? Or I guess we already talked, we did the thumbs up and down, they'll trade back, right? We mentioned that.
I can see him trading down. The problem is who's
Who wants
locked
them?
up. Yeah, they don't have
So thin.
Brandon Cooks. They already did it, so maybe the answer is yes. It just already happened.
We did, yes. And then the last one we've got right now is from my man Isaiah. Shout out to you. Pour one up for Isaiah.
Isaiah Wilson, good luck. We wish you luck.
Is this the year Sean McVay uses more 13 personnel like he did in Washington?
Oh, no, that's a good question. I'd be down.
Yeah.
I'd be down. Start working it in a little bit more. I think it depends on what happens today. If you get another wide receiver, you're gonna have to play somebody out there. Josh Reynolds, is this his time? If you get another guy, you got to get him on the field. Or how are they going to run the ball? Are they going to actually run the ball, or was that just because Todd Gurley was, not 100%? I don't know.
So many questions.
it just depends. Yeah, what they do today, right? If they go get a DeAndre Swift, you got to see more like 21 or 22 sets, because why not have 2 running backs at the same time? That'd be dope. But if not, I mean, I don't know. Do you really want to see Johnny Munn out there instead of Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods? Because I sure as hell don't.
No, nobody wants to see Johnny Munn. Even Johnny Munn's mother doesn't want to see
I do. I want to see Johnny Munn. I want to see
Hello,
Johnny Munn
Johnny
films.
Munn.
Captain America 4, Johnny Munn.
Having some apple pie in the sidelines.
Johnny Munn leads the marching band out onto the field at SoFi to start with the giant American flag.
Yeah, can he play holding an American flag, or is that like against the rules?
He needs to wear the giant American flag that covers the whole field. He needs to tuck that in like a cape, and he can just run across the field, and that'll blanket the whole thing.
How much stock are we putting on Tyler Higbee being what he was last year and
That's a good question.
the good part of the season? I mean, are we plugging him as like a legit tight end that's always going to put up big numbers and be trusted as an integral piece of the offense?
if you do, then you're looking at Cooper Cup's numbers go down because if you
That's
look
what happened. Yeah.
you look at Higbee, as he went up, Cup went down. Cup was strong early in the year, and he had that ridiculous Linda game, like 200 yards, right? But from that point on, as Higbee came up, Cup went down. There's only so many balls you can put over the middle. You're not gonna force it in the middle all day long.
That's why I don't think they need to draft a wide receiver, though, is because I feel like they have, especially when you put in Reynolds, it's not like they're lacking for guys that could make plays, especially pass catchers. It just feels like, yeah, of course you can add. There's great players you can add, but I don't feel like it's a weakness.
Yeah, well, it's not a weakness for 2020, but then you go past this year, you got Gerald Everett, Josh Reynolds, Cooper Kupp.
The Rams don't worry about other seasons.
We don't think about anything beyond the end of our nose.
Do we
We'll
have first
deal with
round
that
draft
when we
picks,
get there.
Joe? Do we care about first round draft picks?
We're
No.
paying $25 million to guys that aren't even on the team. Nobody cares about that. And your planning.
We got a stadium to open.
Not this
we
year.
have corporate logos to show. Get them out there. Get those corporate generic.
Can we talk about my man restructuring his contract today?
More banana Republican is near future, huh?
The core temp money, that sweet core temp money allowed him to.
That up
I
front.
mean, he's still going to get all the cash. He's just moving it around.
But
you
maybe
get it earlier.
I was going to say earlier, and maybe locking him in a little bit longer. Have we seen it? Does it change anything for 2022 or 23? Because that's where I would maybe like.
I mean, maybe it makes it more difficult to unload him.
Yeah,
especially like if they wanted to pull a Gurley and dump him next season,
or if they wanted to pull a Jordan,
it'll be more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I seen they only restructured $7 million, so it's not that much. And depending on how much they break it up, like over the remaining years, if they like just offloaded like throughout or just 1 year or whatever. But I mean, yeah, it gives him more security, right? And gives him more money right now today, which is never bad. So
is that money going to go straight to Jalen Ramsey's pocket with an extension or Cooper?
Yeah,
Kupp,
yeah,
John Johnson?
Probably.
Right?
Yeah, it should.
It's extension
Where are
money.
we expecting him to get signed to an extension first? Ramsey or Kupp?
There's one answer here, and you better all get it right.
Jalen Ramsey.
I want Kupp to get done first. I think Ramsey will be, though.
I've got the mute button ready.
I
the
think
problem is.
go
ahead, Nick.
I was just saying, I think it's kind of bold to think that a cornerback for the Rams is going to get an extension.
Get re-signed, yeah.
Priority A.
The thing that worries me about Ramsey is he has all the leverage. The Rams gave up 2 first-rounders to get him. Now they're in this position where they went 9-7. They can't let him walk. They gotta ink him, which means he's got all the leverage to lock them down for a very, very, very heavy
Looking at
contract.
the Aaron Donald situation where he gets tagged or doesn't show up to camp or
not that again.
What? Yeah. Why not? If you're Jalen Ramsey, you get all the cards are on your side.
It's the
same thing for the front office, though, right?
Training camp every year.
It's the same thing for the front office. Why not just pay the guy? You know you're going to pay him what you're going to pay him. Like,
you're going to do
it. The best player at his position, and if he's not on a 1 year basis, okay, since he came into the league, he's the best corner in the league. You know he's going to get the #1 contract for any corner in the league. Just get it done. Stop wasting everyone's time. The quicker you do it, the more you'll save down the line. Had they done it prior to Byron Jones getting paid, maybe he would have got paid a little bit less than Byron Jones, but now he might approach like $20 million a year. So
you think it's maybe just because the Rams IT guy hasn't been to Tony Pastore's place? He's been setting up Les Snead for the draft, and he's like, "Look, I haven't got
in a Winnebago out in the driveway.
I'm scheduled to get there in August. Hold your horses."
I think they're wasting time thinking of some clever palindromes. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, just painting Les Snead's office with gradient colors.
Yeah.
One part of the wall is white, and then it goes into yellow. A little bit of orange.
We'll see him tonight. We'll see old Hooper. What was his name from Jaws? Bert Hooper
Quint?
Or whatever it was.
Quint?
No, not Quint. Hooper. Richard Dreyfuss's character. They look exactly the same.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Well, this was good, man. I had a fun time. Robbo, thanks for shining your time with us.
Whoa!
Hello, ma'am. Hey, photobomb.
Hey,
That was
being shown to.
That's just like Snead
right now.
He's gonna have his kids and Kara coming in the background. I love it.
Maybe what it's gonna be.
It's good stuff. Well, thanks, boys. Yeah. Any final thoughts? Any parting thoughts? Anything that we didn't say that we wanted to say about round 2, round 3, day 2 of the draft?
No? Logo's still trash.
We don't talk about the logos. We don't talk about the logos.
It's trash.
It's beautiful.
Only party thought I have is, hey, everyone who, the 28 of you watching our YouTube stream right now, thanks for popping in. We appreciate you guys as we launch this new BTH site brand. As we've all been fired from TST and Vox Media, may they go down in flames. We've been talking about this for a while. We're kind of silent on Twitter if you watch us there, but because not a lot to tweet about. But when football is back, we're ready to go. We're going to launch this thing. We're going to come at you on everything. TikTok, Eddie on Instagram. We've got the Twitter thing. We've got the website built out. We've got everything ready to go. The pod will be back. Thanks for sticking with us. And
we will be going beyond the horns, right, Robbo?
We're going beyond the horns.
That doesn't mean we're going to be covering like the Buccaneers, though, right?
I am.
Hey,
oh hell yeah!
Gronk is back.
Right.
What we're going to start. What we're going to
Beyond
start
the pewter
is Sosa's home workout tips and his cooking recipes.
No, none of Sosa's food. That's not making it on the site. 0%.
Come on now. That's like 80% of it.
Cauliflower shrimp pizza. It's a classic.
Hey man, you got to do what you got to do to hit those.
No, you don't.
Goals, right?
No, you don't.
I do.
Mm-mm.
All the
Six
bacon.
pack ain't gonna come on its own.
Mm-mm.
Bring it.
Nope.
Bring it.